Hey, I'm Roger Parent, aka Chief Marketing Dad. So what is a fractional CMO? I mean, it's sort of self-explanatory, but I want to go into the CMO role just a little bit here. The CMO will come into a company, and this is typically how I engage, is I'll come into a company, then analyze everything going on in marketing and branding. So I'll say, like, how is your brand and product being positioned and presented to the overall consumer base? First of all, are we even targeting the right consumers? What marketing channels are we using? Does our brand represent something worth following? And then I will create a full strategy using all these things into account. So for example, I might say we need a new brand book, and then we need to really explore Facebook ads because your audience skews a little bit older, and I think that we should really be spending 60% of our budget there as opposed to maybe on TikTok, which skews younger. And then after that, we're really thinking about like the actual assets and creating the actual experience for the user. What creative are they seeing when they're on these channels? And then what experience are they getting when they land through the website? And then how are they being communicated with via email and all those other things? So a CMO really creates the strategy, right? And CMOs are expensive. The average salary of a CMO is like 250 to 400 grand base, and then they'll typically share in things like equity or profit sharing or stock. And so total compensation is typically higher than that. So fractional CMOs can typically come in for a fraction of the cost and fraction of the time and build that apparatus up front and bring in all the right partners and people. So you're creating this strategy, which requires a pretty big lift up front in the first 2 or 3 months. And then you're installing like sort of your whole team around the company. So you have developers maybe to improve the website. You have website designers. You might have a PPC agency, an SEO agency, an email agency, affiliate, PR, you name it. The CMO can sort of install that whole apparatus, that whole well-oiled machine in place with trusted partners that they've already been working with on many accounts. And so the fractional CMO will come in, do that, and then typically be able to take a step back. So instead of you as a client or business paying this probably $300,000 to $500,000 all-in cost on a CMO, you're able to achieve sort of like 80% of that with a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time, because they'll get that installed for you. And then something that I really pride myself in is if you have a marketing manager or marketing director in-house, I can come in and train that person to be able to manage that process with me being more light touch and helping make the big decisions at a certain point. So you really want to try to find a fractional CMO who's willing to do that, right? Like my goal is basically to come in and work myself out of a job. So that is the value of a fractional CMO. Now, the downside, of course, is that they're not full-time and they're not in your building, right? So if you have a product or service that like really requires hands-on, deep knowledge of that brand, then I would just really make sure that the fractional CMO that you bring in has some background expertise in that field to be able to understand the audience better. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I can point you in the right direction. Hope that helps.